Welcome back to another action-packed episode of the Deadly Podcast Kung Fu, brought to you by the Bills Man, where myself, Justin Raymer, attempts to traverse the continuity of Marvel's most prolific martial artist in Iron Fist and Shang Chi. If you want to keep up with the podcast, you can do so over on social media platforms, Twitter, X, Instagram, Blue Sky, and Threads. If you want to keep up with myself, Justin Raymer, you can do so over at Twitter, X, Blue Sky, and Instagram. Per usual, if you want to hear me play some TTRPGs with my friends, such as Dungeons & Dragons, go subscribe to the last tab on the left. You can follow the podcast wherever you follow Deadly Kung Fu Pod on social media. We have entered the Forbidden Zone in the world of Planet Apes as Dr. Milo, a very little known character in the Planet of the Apes franchise in the movies, but he's prevalent in the comic series that I'm drawing inspiration from, leads Doctor Doom and Kid Goku through the Forbidden Zone. This is fun. The audio is bad. I had a new laptop at the time. Apparently my microphone was not selected during that session, so this episode, next to it, in the next episode, the audio is a little wonky. It's not bad, except for when we laugh. It's very unintelligible, but this was a lot of fun. I will tell you now, if you've never read Planet of the Apes Catalysm by Boom Studio, please do so. It explains so much about the world of Planet of the Apes from that first movie, and it really gives you a different perspective on it. If you love Planet of the Apes, it's a classic sci-fi movie, which is one of the greatest of all time in my opinion. Read this story, you will not be disappointed. And before we move on, I've been telling you guys this. Pre-order Undead Iron Fist. It's in Preview's book. You're reaching the final cutoff date as of this recording, but it will probably be next week as of this recording. So please go pre-order Undead Iron Fist. Order every cover you can. Also, write Marvels about your excitement for Undead Iron Fist at the email address mheroes@marvel.com. Let's build that letters column up and show them that we actually want Danny Rand back. But we're not talking about Danny today. We're talking about Shang Chi and the Master of Kung Fu. And this was announced last week for Shang Chi that he is going to be involved in the X-Men Age of Revelation. Now, this probably won't be continuity because all the X-Men alternate universe stuff is usually alternate timelines. It has nothing to do with the main Marvel timeline. But Jason Liu, who is actually writing Undead Iron Fist, is writing the X-Vengers book, which features Shang-Chi on the cover, who has this dark gray skin. There's no 10 rings. He's got a terrible bow cut that it looks like it was something that he had like in the 90s. But he's still got his current suit on, and his eyes are red. He's got, looks like all these red veins in his skin that I'm looking at. But yeah, he's getting mutant powers. And this team is going to be led by Danny Moonstar. We've got Hawkeye. I don't know who this is as Cannonball. I don't know who the Ant-Man guy is. Some form of Vision that looks really cool. Ant-Man's got 4 arms, maybe 6 arms. I see one down here behind Danny Moonstar who has Captain America's shield. Interesting. So let's read what was released with it. X years later, Earth still needs the Avengers, but what happens when those who are left have transformed into mutants? Danny Moonstar leads a new team of Avengers. Hawkeye, Vision, Water Widow, I thought that was an electrical person. I guess that's Black Widow. Shang-Chi, Variable Man, I'm assuming who is Giant Man, and Cannonball to protect the planet. But can these X-Avengers protect all of Earth, including the Revelation territories? I've read X-Men for years, and I was really excited about what Hickman did with the House of X, Power of X, House of 10, Powers of 10, whatever you want to call it. And eventually it just got so drug out that I just quit reading X-Men, and I have not picked it up since. Will I pick this up? Man, yeah. If it's just a one-shot, I'll probably give it a read. One-shot never hurts. And sometimes, that's just how you get into reading new books. But I do know there used to be an X-Vengers. So I kind of looked this up for the episode, and they are Earth 231013. They are introduced in Marvel Now What #1 from October 2013 by Elliot Kalan and Jacob Chabot. And Shang-Chi is actually a member of that team, but it's Shang-Chi. And we have a female Shang-Chi that is on this team. Long before anything to do with the Ten Ring, man, but even before Secret War, speaking of Hickman. So not the first time that a ultimate version of Shang-Chi has been on the X-Avengers. And this just could be also some reality warping stuff, and it could be continuity. I mean, you look at Age of X-Men, that was the last time I could think of, like, reality was warped and it's still continuity, caught up in continuity. So, I don't know. Like I said, I'm so out of touch with the X-Men. But like I said, I might give #1 a read, and maybe I will cover this on the podcast. Who knows? It just depends on what I've got time for as I'm adding newer stuff into the podcast. But let's go ahead and talk about Master of Kung Fu. That's what you guys are waiting for. And we're going to cover issue 78 to continue from issue 77. So if you haven't listened to the past episode, please do so. The issue was released on April 24th, 1979, along with 9 titles from Marvel Comics. They are Defenders, Volume 1, number 73. Fantastic Four, Volume 1, number 208. As of this recording, Fantastic Four will release tomorrow night on Thursday. So excited. I've stayed away from a lot of the trailers, but I was watching Sports Center the other morning before work, and they played a little, 30-second trailer. Really ruined some part of the movie for me. I was kind of mad about that. But I still believe this is all going to end with an incursion. I think Galactus, that's just the front of the movie. They're just kind of, it's a red herring. This has to do with some incursion stuff at the end. And because that Thunderbolts after credit just tells you everything you need to know. But we got Iron Man, Volume 1, number 124, John Carter, Warlord of Mars, Volume 1, number 25, Marvel Team Up, Volume 1, number 83, Peter Parker, The Spectacular Spider-Man, Volume 1, number 32, Spidey Super Stories, Volume 1, number 41, Star Wars, Volume 1, number 25, and Tarzan, Volume 1, number 26, wraps up the list. The title is called Tread the Night Softly. Let me tell you, some of the dialogue in this book, there's a lot of cool titles they could have went with. One of these was very similar to this, but man, yeah, there's a lot of cool dialogue in this. Your creative team, per usual, as writer, is Doug Minch. Your penciler is Mike Zeck, who does some beautiful work in this book, even in the last issue. Inks is Al Gordon. Colorist is Bob Sharon. Letters is Joe Rosen. And your editor is Roger Stern. The cover is also done by Mike Zeck, which features Shang-Chi busting through a wooden door, and we see the silhouette of Zaran with a bow and arrow, as they look like they're in a hunting lodge. Depicts what's in this issue completely. Love it. Great cover. Let's go ahead and move on to that story. With the unconscious Leiko in his arms, Shang-Chi carries her to a nearby village. Taking her to a pub, the master of Kung Fu asks them to call a doctor to help his lover before asking the owners if they know of Zaran. Unfortunately for him, they do, and tell him of a lodge he lives in on a nearby loch. Knowing a doctor is on the way, Shang-Chi heads to face his newest enemy. Meanwhile, at the Scotland Castle, Black Jack Tarr explains to Sarsfield that he and the others have no clue about Fu Manchu's return. Not believing the veteran's words, the agent assures him when his help arrives, they will torture the information from them all. Taking a moment's leave, Tarr tries to free himself as Reston regains consciousness. An angered Shang-Chi hires a cab to take him to Zaran's lodge, where he waits for hours for the assassin. A visitor arrives that sounds familiar to the hero, but he cannot wait no longer and swims across the loch. From the water, Shang-Chi spies on the mysterious visitor and Zaran as they discuss Shockwave's tape. As the visitor leaves, the master of Kung Fu makes his move. Back at the castle, Sarsfield becomes aggravated as his men are running late. Tarr takes advantage of his frustration to antagonize the agent even further. Sarsfield then strikes a vet, mocking him even more, and gives Tarr more of a distraction as he loosens the bonds on his wrist. Back at the lodge, Shang-Chi ambushes Zaran by distracting him with a broken window. The assassin quickly reacts and fires an arrow that is easily blocked. Zaran uses every ranged weapon he can use against the hero, but it isn't enough. Fueled by his feelings for his injured Leiko, Shang-Chi unleashes a brutal flurry of strikes. Unwilling to continue their fight, Zaran flees, but not before dropping something, a glass eye. Placing it with one of the mounted animals, Shang-Chi finds Shockwave's tape in the eye socket. As a nearby engine catches his attention, the master of Kung Fu thinks a mysterious visitor has returned, but to his surprise it's Leiko. As Tarr continues to free himself, Sarsfield taunts him with the changing political climate of the world. Overconfident, he believes MI6 believes Fu Manchu is in South America, setting himself up as some kind of king. The two's conversation is interrupted by the sound of someone approaching. The MI6 agent is surprised to see Zaran instead of his two men he called for. The assassin tells Sarsfield that the plan has changed as he plunges a sigh into his guts. As the agent dies in agony, Zaran reveals that he works for a new employer. Placing aside Black Jack Tarr's throat, the assassin teases there is no need for him and the others. With patience of being a veteran, he waits for Zaran to reveal more information as Clive rests and waits for his friend to make a move. Outside, Leiko Wu and Shang Chi speed towards the castle. Meanwhile, in South America, villagers wait outside a cathedral where a podium stands. They stand in awe as a lightning strikes it, as a figure begins to materialize before them. Really, really liked this issue. I thought this was pretty epic. The pacing from Minch in this book is great. It's highlighted by Zek's wonderful artwork. I mean, it's like Shang-Chi. What's going on at the castle? Shang-Chi's fight. Leiko regaining consciousness. Back at the castle. Shang-Chi and Zaran's fight again. Zaran escapes. We're back at the castle. Everybody's arriving. Who's the figure being summoned by lightning? Who's the figure that Zaran was talking to? A lot of mystery, a lot of action, a lot of the plot moving forward. Really, really good issue. The big thing that stands out in this book is right in the beginning, and we have this really cool opening page that says, "Tread the night softly." And it's so one side is Shang-Chi, like he's in anger, like he's about to fight Zaran. And then there's like a strip of, looks like film, or maybe like picture negatives, but they're not negatives. And they kind of explain the background to the whole story. And then on the other side is Zaran with his spear. And it's really cool because, like, we get, they're talking about the tape, Shang-Chi is, and how he got the tape from one of Mordillo's monsters, and it was basically a reed tape in its box that roared, and how he swam in its mouth. So we see a panel of that. And then we see him pushing the record button, and then we see Shockwave's confession. And then we see the Shockwave's tape stuck in the logs from the last issue. And then we see Leiko outside of her crash car from the last issue. Really cool way to explain to you, if you're a new reader, what's going on all in one page. Really awesome. I love that. I think it's great. It's probably one of the best openings so far in this series. Now, the one thing this whole story proves is that if you injure any woman that Shang-Chi has feelings for, he doesn't care about pacifism, or he don't care about peace, quiet, silence, solitude, or whatever. He is out to end you. And he is out to end Zaran. In this issue, after he calls Leiko's car wreck and Shang-Chi thought she was going to die. So, and just kind of like give you background, like the first girl he fell in love with or had feelings for, Sandy in Giant Size, Master of Kung Fu #2. Yeah, man, he's out for vengeance in that book when she gets captured by Fu Manchu. Literally one of the best endings in a comic book I've read. Literally probably the best ending for any issue on this podcast. I really love that book and the way that it ends. It's literally one of my favorite Master Kung Fu stories. Go read that. Listen. I think it's called The Plan of the Devil Doctor. I think it's what it's called in the podcast feed. The Master Plan of the Devil Doctor. Go read that. Or if you can find that issue, buy it. You will not be disappointed. It's so good. Then we got Juliet in the China Sea Saga from not too long ago. And then we're talking Leiko when she was kidnapped by Warrior, who Shang-Chi was actually going to kill. And now we're talking about Zaran, who I think Shang-Chi would have killed in this book. Yeah, he is delivering probably the best ass whooping yet so far to somebody who's hurt one of the women he's loved or had feelings for. And it's big in this fight. And it's the inner monologue of Shang-Chi in this book is pretty good as we approach this fight. So after he takes Leiko to this pub in wherever they're at Scotland, I'm assuming. He gets out of the cab and he's talking about Leiko. She also had bright, clear eyes and a spirit bursting with life before Zaran. I've had no sleep in 2 days, but this time I will meet Zaran on his terms, and he's kind of meditating across from the lock, waiting for Zaran to arrive. Terms which dictate silence, darkness, a clear mind, and a fresh body. I will not sleep, but I will wait until nightfall, and I will rest until I am ready for the meeting. He's kind of hid in these bushes, just watching across the lock. Then we see him meditating some more. I rest on the edge of alertness, numb, hazy, languid, but ever aware, and unable to escape the thoughts of Leiko's warfare. And then we see the mysterious visitor show up in a car across the lock, and them and Zaran talk. Shang-Chi decided he's had enough. Just dropping the top of his gi, he's swimming across. Night. The visitor has not yet left, but no matter. It is time to act like he does not care. He is ready to end Zaran. Time to stalk the stalker, to hunt the hunter, to tread the darkness softly. See, that would have been a really cool title for this book. That's what I was trying to say in the beginning. To break the night only with the moment of vengeance. Another cool title that would have worked for this book. So Shang-Chi arrives, and he comes up on the dock of this lodge, and he sees that he's got a bunch of fish chained in the water to eat. So we get Zaran, and this is where I keep saying he should have been craving a hunter. We look inside this lodge. He's got the eye from the mounted animal. And there's like a bear trap. There's all these mounted animals everywhere. He's got a bow, not like a compound bow, but just maybe a compound bow. I'm not really sure. With the art being so old, but literally he should have been craving the hunter. This chain of fish comes flying through the window and breaks it. Zaran, kind of spooked, he grabs an arrow. He's distracted. He turns around, trying to figure out who it is. We get some more Shang-Chi dialogue. He will train his bow on the darkness beyond the shattered window, waiting with the patience of the hunter for his prey to appear. The next page, you flip it over, Shang-Chi kicks in the door. I mean, he shatters it. Thus, I use the door. Man, I laughed so hard when I read that. It's pretty comical. And then Zaran says, "You!" and he fires an arrow. Shang-Chi blocks it with his bracers. The arrow gets stuck in the moose, which has the tape in it. Shang-Chi says, "Still, he is swift to recover with his many weapons." He tells Zaran, Zaran, me. And now I have come for the tape, Zaran, for another reason. Because it makes no difference that you failed to murder Leiko. We will fight now, as if you had succeeded. Very well, Shang-Chi, we will fight. And this time I will succeed. Like I said, he's done pissed Shang-Chi off. He tried to kill the woman that he loved, and he wasn't having it. Well, anyways, Zaran starts throwing these sighs at him, right? Shang-Chi's leaping over a table, ducking down. He grabs a pike for a boat, to pull rope into a boat and whatnot, or dock yourself, like when you're trying to swim out. I'm not a sailor. I don't really know what terms I'm using at, but it's a pike, right? And he's just blocking these hooks. And then he gets close enough to Zaran. He leaps up back over the chair, kicks him in the face, takes that pike, smashes him in the face, knocks him to the side, comes back around, hits him in the other side of the face, kicks him far away. Zaran falls under this bear trap, rips it off the wall, throws it at him. Shang-Chi takes that pike, shoves it in the trap as it comes to him, blocks the trap. And then he's fed up. And now the time for weapons, strange and innocent, has passed. The moment of vengeance has arrived. He throws a pike to the side. It is time to break the night. He does this massive flying dragon kick. And kicks Zaran and just sends him flying to the door. And Zaran books it because he knows that Shang-Chi is out for blood. And you can tell, like I said, I love that. And now the time for weapons, strange and innocent, has passed. The moment of vengeance has arrived. It is time to break the night. And I brought this up in the last issue. Zaran's a hell of a fighter. He's got all these weapons, but are you really that good once Shang Chi can get that close to you? And yeah, Shang Chi puts an ass whooping on him big time. Like I said, the women that Shang Chi love, do not screw with them. But like I said, I do believe Zaran should have been Craven. You look at this lock, it's out in the woods in Scotland. It's very beautiful. He's got this old lodge. It's got a 2-story, got a chimney that runs all the way up. It made of brick. He's got all these mounted animals inside of it. Like I said, there's that bear trap, the bow. Like, that could see where this is Craven, you know. Now, the one thing we do learn here, which is very interesting, is Sarsfield says that MI6 believes that Fu Manchu is in South America. And we get this really cool panel as it shifts away, and we see some of these villagers looking up, like, kind of, assuming it's a cathedral where there's a podium is, and one of the men says, "Soon he will come," and another one says, "Yes, he has promised, soon he will," and they are, as lightning hits the podium, and there's a cat there that takes off running, and we can see a figure starting to materialize. Now, Fu Manchu's got ties to South America, and you got to go pretty far back in this issue, and not issue, the series. You got to read Master of Kung Fu number 23 through 25, and basically Shang-Chi and MI6 chases Fu Manchu down to the Amazon. I've covered this, obviously. It's titled A River of Death. I went back and looked for you, so if you want to go back and listen, that you can. Back then, I was kind of putting episodes in together that were a whole plot, so you're going to listen to like 3 or 4 issues, I should say, in one episode. So that's exciting. Fu Manchu is returning. Obviously, we know that Shang-Chi is not tied to him, and neither is Sir Dennis Naylor-Smith or Miss Greenfield, Clive Reston, Leiko, Black Jack. None of them are tied to him. So why does MI6 think that? I don't know. We need answers to that. The other big question is who's this mysterious visitor that Zaran had? My guess is Follow Sue. If you look through the pages where we talk about the visitor and you kind of zoom up, it does look like a woman where Shang-Chi swims to the lock. The person that is talking to Zaran, it seems like it has her hairstyle. And then when they first show up, it does seem like they have some type of dress on as they're approaching Zaran. And Zaran seems like the type of guy that Fu Manchu would like to hire as well. So either Follow Sue wants the tape for herself to clear everybody, because, well, we do know that there was some type of relationship in Sir Dennis Naylor-Smith's younger days. And maybe she's using it as a bargaining chip, because in the Golden Dagger saga, she was trying to take down her father, and she did enlist Shang-Chi to help her. Or maybe she is working with Fu Manchu. It could be Descharme, now that I think about it, being a female, but she's never really left Fu Manchu's side. I don't even remember her being in space with him back in issue 50. So, or like I said, could just be Fu Manchu buying the tape for himself. Could be Pavane, for all I know. The way she's popped up in and out of this book since we've Carlton Velcro, yeah, back in like early on in this series. Could be her, because she has popped up in places I never expected her to. So, but exciting stuff. Very excited for this next issue. The last page gives you a bunch of cliffhangers to go off of. It opens up with Zaran stabbing Sarsfield. He's dying in agony. This is about the time Black Jack Tarr gets his bonds loose. And he says, "What the? Finally free, but I can't make my move now." And we got Zaran teasing him, like, "Hey, I'm going to kill you." And Clive Reston, who's, gained conscious, he's sitting there thinking, "What are you waiting for, Tarr? Make your move. You've got to." And then we see the ropes drop from Black Jack Tarr's hands as we get the tease for the next issue, to sleep this side of death. We also know that Shang-Chi and Leiko are also speeding towards the castle during all this. Exciting stuff. Probably a big issue in issue 79. But that'll wrap up this episode of the Deadly Podcast, Kung Fu, brought to you by the Villains Man. If you want to keep up with the podcast, you can do so on social media platforms, Twitter, X, Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky. If you like my music, check out Rushing Tiger by Kuro over on YouTube and SoundCloud. But in the end, guys, most importantly, support your local comic book shops and keep reading comics, guys.